Hey everybody, fellow entrepreneur, back again. I make crappy videos every day, so make sure you subscribe so you can argue with me in the comments. And today, I want to talk about Elon Musk and the interesting weekend that this guy has. So Elon Musk is a very interesting character. If he was boring, probably wouldn't be talking about him, right? So Elon Musk, I guess, is kind of like the closest thing to a Tony Stark that we might have, right? Because he is this really like forward-thinking kind of futurist, has lots of companies, pushes the edge of what technology can do. But the dude is a little out there and kind of controversial and not afraid to speak his mind. And he's basically got fuck you money, so he can really kind of just say and do what he wants. He just doesn't have the drinking problem, or he doesn't have the Iron Man suit of armor yet. But anyway, so he's had a busy weekend, and just wanted to kind of talk about him a little bit because it's kind of interesting stuff. Where to even start? I mean, man, what does this guy do? So he had, I guess he's been in the news a couple times, is why I want to say this. So he had a baby over the weekend. Oh boy, not to go gossipy here, but celebrities love to give their kids special names, right? There's a reason for this. I actually watched a movie on this once. Just like you got like brand name products like your Coca-Cola and your Levi's jeans. Well, when you're like famous celebrity and that's how you make your money, it's just, when they, in their minds, kind of makes sense when they're having a child. From that point of view, perhaps if you think this way or you live this way, it's kind of like launching a brand new brand, right? And so by giving your child a somewhat out of the norm name, you're kind of creating a brand around that child. I don't know what they expect that baby to do when it grows up, but it's just branding. And when you live and breathe in that kind of world, I guess it would just make sense that you might want to go and betroth your child with a strange name, or maybe it's just copycat. Someone did it first, and now it's the celebrity thing to do. Maybe it just shows celebrity status, right? Which could also be possible as well. Anyway, had a baby boy with his girlfriend Grimes, someone Grimes. She's like a singer or something, like a punk rock singer, I think. Anyway, XAEA12. It's not a droid from Star Wars. That is the name of his baby son, and I guess there's a reason for this. He had to go on Twitter and explain, because a name like that needs explaining. X, I guess, is just like some unknown variable. The baby's name is code. So X is like the unknown variable. So the baby could do whatever it wants when it grows up, right? AE is actually AE kind of written together. It's like an old letter from Norwegian alphabet or something like that. It's like from an old language, but it's pronounced Ash, I guess, or AE or something like that. And then A12, I guess, is their favorite airplane. SR-71 Blackbird was not the first one. There were prototypes before, and so one of like the kind of SR-71 X planes, was something called the A12, and it was a kind of like a scaled down SR-71, basically. Anyway, so they name after the favorite airplane. So X-A12 is the name of their child. For anybody that wants to know. So there you go. I guess they're going to call him X, or probably I would just call it Ash, or who knows. Just give the kid any nickname. Then he showed up on Joe Rogan podcast, which he does. I think it's only his second time on there, I guess. And he's an interesting interview because it's if you haven't watched Rogan's podcast, but I mean like everybody seems to, it's not bad because Rogan also kind of doesn't, he's a good host. He's a good host because he's not afraid to ask questions, and he's kind of like, you ever watch Coast to Coast? Or no, you ever listen to that old radio show Coast to Coast? It's on early in the morning. It's like all the conspiracies and aliens and Bigfoot sighting show. People just call in and talk about all the crazy paranormal stuff. It's when it's late at night and you're driving and there ain't nothing on the radio. Coast to Coast is good listening. So, but the hosts there, they're always super open minded and people talking about aliens and triangles they saw in their bedroom window or something, and the hosts will buy into it, and they never really like say that's stupid or you're an idiot. Rogan's kind of like that. He's very open, and he's got a very open mind, and so he can very easily kind of like see all sides of an issue, but still be very critical. He's a good host that way. But he's able to get Musk on here, and they're just spitballing and talking about everything and anything. And, Musk is very deadpan and like to the point, very analytical. Joe Rogan isn't. But anyway, he mentioned that on the podcast after his baby was born. I mean, your baby's born and you go right onto a podcast. Like, I guess that's the life this guy lives. But he's selling all his possessions. He's going through a Zen Buddhist moment right now. And he's just selling all of his mansions and I guess maybe his collectibles or whatever he has. And he's kind of disconnecting himself from the material, which I guess maybe some people were a little worried about. Maybe he's having like a nervous breakdown, or maybe he's in financial trouble because he's got a lot of companies and sometimes they seem to struggle, which we'll also get to. But I think is just, I don't know, he's just a guy who's getting old, and what do you need 7 or 6 houses for? And he said, I never go to them anyways, and I could invest that money into something better. So Elon Musk is having a fire sale on all of his stuff, and I don't know, people like me like to talk about that, I guess. So it was kind of in the news for a while. And then just the other day, he got into a spat with the government of California. So the Tesla factory is based in California, but with all the Corona shutdowns, I knew I'd get Corona in here. And the social distancing and stuff, 6 feet away. Anyway, he's having a hard time running his factory there because California's got some pretty strict Corona standards. Musk also said on the podcast he thinks that Corona is very overstated in terms of lethality and the death rates, and it's possible. I made videos on that before. I don't want to get into the Corona rabbit hole, but anyway, Tesla always seems to be on shaky ground, right? They make cool cars, but sometimes they can't make enough of them, or sometimes they're not profitable, or sometimes he makes his workers like, really long hours, and he's kind of like seen as this robber baron who's just kind of, slave driving people around, whatever it is. But he can't make cars if his factories are shut down or working at low capacity. So he just threatened, basically kind of a throwdown of California. Let me run my factories the way I want to, or I'm just going to pack them up, take my ball, and I'm going to go move somewhere else. And then I guess some lawmaker in California told him to fuck off, and he said, okay, I got it, and we'll see what happens. So Musk is the kind of guy who, like I said, he's got the money and the means to back up what he says. So if he says he's going to leave and pick up his factory and move it somewhere else, he very much, I wouldn't be out of the norm for him to do something kind of drastic like that, because Elon Musk. This is the guy who sent his car to Mars, by the way, right? So, also interesting in the Rogan interview, he mentioned, I guess he has yet another company he's working on, Neuralink or something like that, but trying to get, it's basically a company focusing on like brain implants, cybernetic kind of implants, and he said that there may be like a year or 2 away from being able to connect chips, computers or something, or basically hardwire circuits into the brain. I guess they drill a little hole in your skull and they put some like fiber optic wiring in there that connects to the brain. Now, what part of the brain it connects to and how it functions in the brain, that's way beyond my pay grade, man. I have no idea. But he seemed pretty high on it as a way maybe to like fight back against like Alzheimer's or accessing parts of the brain or maybe amplifying the brain and kind of really merging it with technology. I don't know. It's real sci-fi stuff, but you hear him talk about it and it seems like just another day in the office, and it's something that's a lot closer maybe than people realize. So interesting, I guess. Anyway, like I said, he's just an interesting guy, and trying to get people on Mars, even though he said it might be a one-way trip, or people might die. The Tesla cars, the Hyperloop, whatever happened to that. He's a big crypto enthusiast, so I like him right there off the bat. Anyway, just want to do a video, I guess, talking about Elon Musk, and I guess what I'm trying to say is, people see that and they think he's having like a breakdown, or he's under a lot of stress, which no doubt he is, and he reacts and overreacts in bad ways. But I think that's just the way the dude is. He plays by his own rules. He does what he wants. He's been pretty successful so far. Guy's very, very popular. A lot of people really look up to him and what he's accomplished. And so it is kind of news. When Elon Musk says something or does something, people listen, people pay attention. So we might see, who knows, a lot more kids named after airplanes now, or just letters of the alphabet. If that becomes the cool thing to do, we will see. But that's all for today. This is Failed Entrepreneur. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later. Bye.